Okay. Uh, Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. We're gonna do a painting tutorial. Uh, and if you find this video helpful or enjoyable in any way, please leave a like. And if you have any requests or questions, leave a comment down below. I'd appreciate it. And if you wouldn't mind subscribing to my channel, I try to do a painting tutorial every week. If not, I do some shorts here and there just with little tips or whatever. So we're going to do painting today. I have my 16 by 20 cheap canvas from Hobby Lobby. This is going to be a portrait, not a landscape, meaning we're using it this way and not sideways. As the usual 2-inch brush, 1-inch brush, round brush. I got 2 dirty fan brushes and this filbert brush, but we probably won't use that. I have my palette knife script liner brush that is really on its last leg. I have liquid white, which I've already covered the canvas with a thin, even coat. And then for our paints, I started mixing some already, but I'll talk about that. Yellow, cadmium yellow, alizarin crimson, phthalo blue, phthalo green, midnight black. This I just mixed half yellow, half red. We're going to use this for the sky. This is mostly yellow with a little red in it. And this is just straight up red. All right, we're ready to get started. So we're going to do a portrait style. This one's pretty easy. A lot of foliage. We might even do like a little cabin thingy in there if I have enough paint. Real easy. We're going to do a sky and then a bunch of trees and shrubbery and whatever. So let's do it. 2-inch brush. So we want to start. So the bulk of our trees and stuff is going to be like in this area here. So this top left corner is going to be mostly sky. So I'm going to start with the yellow, right? You could also use yellow ochre or Indian yellow for this. I'm just using straight cadmium yellow with a little accidental red mixed in. Just make it light like this, and we're going to treat this like the sunrise or sunset, whichever you want to call it. And we're just going to start a little bit lower than where you think you need to and start dancing it in. See how when you mix it with the red, it makes it kind of a golden color, hence golden sunset, right? Pretty obvious. So we're not doing any water in this one. This one is all going to be straight up shrubbery and like a path and possibly a cabin. So now I'm just going to get a little bit of that orange color, orangish. It's more of a reddish orange, but regardless. And you can make these colors, as red as you want or as yellow as you want or orangey or whatever. Now, because this is the darker color, I'm going to start here at the top, the corner, just to give a little bit. X's, just X, throw it in there here. You know, you don't even have to add that much. Just have some fun. Tap in a few clouds there. Okay, we're gonna blend that. That's pretty much our sky. Here, that's pretty much it. We're gonna take our clean brush, either clean the brush or get another one, and we're just gonna blend this. We're gonna blend our sky. This this part of the sky I'm blending right now, you probably won't see too much because it'll be behind a bunch of trees. We're going to do it like a giant section of trees here. Should be good. But you got to, the reason why I'm doing the big section of trees is I want to show you that painting is, yes, it's subtle at times, but there are times where you have to be big and bold and just load up the brush and just nail the canvas. And I'm going to go over how to do that. And it's a lot of fun. So you can either be, real meticulous, line by line, or little dots or whatever. But there are times where you can also be big and bold and have a lot of fun. All right, so we just blend it out the same way as we've done little X's with a clean dry brush. Just blend it, and then lightly go over top to take away the brush strokes. Here. See how this little tappy thing I did turns into a cloud. I don't even have any white, so I mean you can add just a little touch of a highlight, but to heck with it. That's our sky. That's why sometimes if I'm doing a sky, I'll just take a little bit of the side paint here and just mix it up over here separately. It's what I like to do. You don't have to do it. It's up to you. Okay. So now let's see. All right, we're gonna mix up. We're not even gonna do like a background, like a thing against the horizon. This is gonna be so much area that we're not even gonna see the horizon line. We're just gonna take our green, the phthalo green, the black, the blue, and we're gonna take a good hunk of our red. Just mix it up. Good dark color. Just mix up something similar to what you would make the mountains out of, which we haven't done yet. But if you've seen Bob's paintings, you know he says just mix up all the dark colors as long as you get something like black or close to black, really dark. Here, good. So just sort of mush it together. That's something like that. Guys, if you have any questions or you want to have any requests or complaints or whatever, please leave a comment. And also something that would be really awesome would be, I would appreciate if you would share this video with somebody you know that might appreciate it besides yourself. I would really appreciate that. And if you do, let me know, and I'll mention that in a future video. All right, kids. So let's we're gonna go for it. We're gonna freaking go for it. So what we're gonna do now is put in the background, even though we're not doing the horizon. We're gonna put in some bit of a background just so there's not white behind it, but it's not gonna be, you know, subtle and light like the horizon lines like we've done in the past. So we're gonna do our normal where we drag, excuse me, sorry, drag the paintbrush like that. A lot of paint, a lot of paint, a lot of paint. And we're just gonna start going. We're gonna start building this. We're jumping right into it. In fact, if you wanted to have a black canvas that you painted, uh, this would work great for that. You could just paint the bottom half. It would save you all this time of, in fact, a lot of this you could just, you know, just put it in. It's like a sort of a aqua green color. You could also use brown here. You know, we're going crazy. You know, don't worry, we're gonna come back on top of this. Here, we're gonna add this stuff in. Here, who cares? Just get it in there, right? This is a real easy, fun painting. See, I'm even just holding it, tapping it down. These are trees in the background. This is a real fun one where you can kind of just relax. You don't have to worry about getting it, you know, you don't have to worry about getting it perfect. We're just laying in some color here, just all over. Now, like I said, if you wanted, if you wanted to use a black canvas, like you painted with gesso, here I'll show you. This is just a regular canvas that I painted with black gesso, which is an acrylic paint, and then you let it dry, and then you don't have to work as hard to fill in the dark areas here. So we're making some good progress. I'm almost done with all my paint, which is perfect. I love when that happens, when I use just the right amount of paint so I don't have to waste it. Here, good. That looks great. You know, it looks like a big blob of mess. Yeah, all right, good. Came out a little better than I thought. And then we have our you know, our sunset in the background. What I like to do is if I have paint like this where I've spread it out and used it a lot, I just like to regroup it and just put it back into a pile with the knife, just scrape it, whatever. We're gonna save that for some tree trunks and stuff, which we'll do right now. So the dark color is down. I mean, that's it, brother. That's, you know, that's the thing. All right, so we're gonna take our fan brush here. We're going to get some. Now remember, this is all background. This is all dark, right? But we're going to get some of our, let's take that black color, actually. Let's take this dark color. Let's take some of it right here. Let's get a little more of the red. We're going to make this a little bit more towards the red side because I want almost like a brownish thing here. Yeah, there we go. Because tree trunks are brown, in case you didn't know. Sometimes they're a little bit like mossy green, but in this case, I want more brown, slightly more. So we're gonna, here, bada beep, bada boop. Here, we're just gonna create just a. We're just gonna go right into it, straight up tree. Boom. Gonna come into it. See, it's a little brown. Hopefully, you can see that. There. What the heck? Let's do a couple. Let's do one right here. Big, thick trees. And here, I don't really care too much about. We're going to fill that in with a bunch of shrubbery. Here is a big, thick tree. If you add a second big limb onto it, just double up the trunk, right? That's a little thing that I use, right? But we're mainly interested in this area here. Down here, we're going to sort of cover it up with other shrubs that exist down here. Let's see. Let's do another one. Now these could be two separate trees, but they just happen to be close together. All right, now we're going to take, we're going to go back to our, not that one we just used, but the other remaining dark colors, okay? And we're going to give these trees just some little bit of branches and leaves. This is easy. If you're looking for a painting to start with, this is it, right? So just a little bit of that. Just, turn your brush on the side here. Turn your brush on the side. You can leave some trunk exposed, that's fine. Just adds to it here. Here. There you go. Good. A few more here. Just, you know, think like a tree or something. You could leave some spaces so the horizon, or the sunset shows through. All right, sweet dude. All right, now let's see. Let's take, what should we do? Should we take our blending brush? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, let's do our 1-inch brush. This is the brush that I use to blend the sky. And let's do it, man. Let's get just a touch of the dark. Go right into the yellow. Right into the yellow. And remember, you can either use liquid white, but I prefer the paint thinner. I just think it helps show up a little bit better. Just a touch, not too much, obviously. Touch of the paint thinner. Tap, tap. You can test to see how much you have to, or just see if it's too bright or too dark, whatever. That was a little light for me, so I just add a touch of the dark color just to darken it up. Tap it, and then we're just going to start adding highlights. Just light tap, light tap, light. Pretend like you're not even holding the brush, and just go, just tap it. You know, don't keep reloading too much. Trust me, that's a mistake I used to make. And then here we are. Whatever, it looks good. Let's for this next one, just to switch it up a little bit. Let's pull the brush in one direction, okay, and then we're gonna just like our normal. Hopefully, you can see that beyond my massive strong arm. And then just tap, press, press. Here, good. I mean, it don't get much simpler than that. All right, so now this part here, these parts here, they're going to be in the background. They're going to be dark, but we're going to add some stuff in here. Okay, so nothing too crazy. Okay, let's do some more highlights for right now. Take our 1-inch brush again. You should still have enough paint thinner, but if you don't, add a little bit more, just a tiny bit to get started. I'm going to add just a touch. Just dip the tip in there. and then test it. You know, see if it's too dark or whatever. You can bring in some of the dark paint to make it darker, because this we're going to fill in sort of this area here, and then we'll do our cabin somewhere in this area. Okay, good. So just, you know, test it here. Now these are way in the background, you know, or somewhat in the background, so they don't need too much detail, just enough to get an indication of where they are, and that they're trees. Okay, here, so maybe turn it upside down, you know, bing, 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 good enough. All right, that works. All right, so, okay, good. Let's give these trees a little bit of a highlight. So what I'm going to do is take that same tree color that we use. I'm going to get, this is some liquid white here. Sometimes I don't even use the white titanium white. We're just going to use liquid white. And we're just going to sort of create, you know, just take a little bit and a little bit, just sort of marble it here. And I like to use it like this. We're just going to give a few touches. Don't go crazy. Just tap and pull in this regard. Just sort of touch and give it a slight pull. Reload for here, here, here. Your hand will be steady. Here. This is just to add, just, you want a little bit of highlight, but nothing crazy, nothing that, you know, makes it stand out too much. You just want just enough, you know, just enough to trick the eye. All right, let's do this, Brutus. We're gonna take the rest of our dark remaining color, even though it's got the light green in it. Who cares? Okay, just remix it, and the light green will kind of disappear. Okay, now we're gonna make a sort of cabin in the woods. Anybody likes that movie? It was okay. Anyway, so the way I do it is how I learned it from Bob, where you sort of scrape out the roof. You can make this as big as you want or as small as you want. We want to scrape out the uh, the shape, number one, and it gets rid of excess paint. Because trust me, you don't want to be putting extra paint on top of here, you know, over top of all this thick paint, because there is a good amount of paint there. You know, just sort of create it here, just a rough shape. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, all right. So hopefully you can see that there's sort of a scraped out zone here. So we're going to take our dark color here, going to get pretty thick, and we're just going to start laying it in. The roof here, it's pretty thick. Just wish it. One thing you want to focus on when you're making cabins is making the left side of the roof the same height and length as the, you know, because trust me, I made that mistake before. And then we start with the front. It's pretty easy. Just get your thick paint and then just sort of smear it in there, mush it in there. Don't worry about the, you know, creating the roof just yet. We're going to fill that in with highlights. Right now we're just trying to get color in there. Here, the sides. The sides. Here, leave a little eave of the other roof in there. Here, good. Don't worry about that. The blue. So you want your roof here. Here's your roof. Hopefully you can see this. You'll definitely be able to see it when you're doing it with your paint. There's definitely a little bit of a line. But anyway, all right, so I got a little bit of paint, dark paint left. That's good. Here was our highlights from the trees. I'm going to go and get some more liquid white, just in, you know, whatever, good amount. And then take it and mix it with the dark, okay? So you get kind of a marbled highlight color. It's almost like a slate gray. And then we're going to take, since our light is coming from this way, we're going to give it Here, just touch to the roof, and then slide it down lightly, because this side of the roof gets a little bit of highlight. Most of the color is on that side. Here, and then you can use a little bit more white, since the front of the house would get the most attention. So here, and then down. Pretty simple. And then for the side that gets the least amount of light, what I like to do is take that same dark color, no white. Well, there's a little bit of white in there, but too bad, that's fine. And then add just a touch of red. Believe it or not, red makes it seem darker. Even though this is dark, the red makes it seem darker. You get a little white in there, don't worry about it, it's fine. Here. All right, now, here's a fun little thing to add some realism to your cabin. Take your palette knife and you're going to scrape in lines for the boards of the cabin. Da, da, da. Take your time. Even go on the dark side. The dark side. I never seen Star Wars, but I've heard it's good. And then it'll create a nice little, it'll actually look like slats of wood. All right, our cabin is almost done. Take a little bit more of the dark, okay? And I'm going to take the small side of the palette knife. I'm going to add a door. You got to be able to get in there. Just add a door. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just a door. Give the indication of a door. You can make this a barn. You can make it red if you like. Just make a general square shape here. Good. Now, take your blade of the thing and just sort of cut. It'll sort of cut that door out, make it sort of look intentional, not just like a blob of paint. And then here we just sort of zip off the bottom. No big deal. That's a cabin. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it does take a little bit of practice, but it is pretty easy. I'm just gonna wash my brush here, my fan brush, just because I don't think we're gonna need it anymore. Maybe. Here. Okay. Now, in this painting, because I want to do both green and like orangey reddish foliage highlights, I'm going to use both the 1" and the round brush. So like say the round brush is going to be the green highlights, greenish, yellowish, and the 1" would be the reddish, orangish highlights. So it just makes it a little easier, so you don't have to keep going back and forth to it. So let's start with the green. So I'm gonna use the round brush here. I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go right back into that here. We should have enough to, yeah, I might need a little bit more, but we should have enough to finish here. Okay. Right. Gonna load it up. Maybe get just a tip of the, dip the tip in your thing, and let's see. Where should we go? Let's go right here and do like a huge huge bush, right? Encompasses a lot of the, covers up our thing, right? You know what? I think I am going to need a little extra. This is the yellow. I'm just going to give myself a few extra little bit there, and maybe I'll give myself some green. You could use the phthalo green again or whatever, but I have this little sap green. Just something to darken the yellow. You don't want it straight up yellow. Yeah, whatever. Plus, if you add the liquid white to the green, then it makes it a light green, in case you didn't know. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna take some liquid white, just a little dab will do you, right? We're gonna go into the red, right? Get some of this orange that was left over. Go into the red. Get a little touch of the paint thinner. We might need more red too, actually, which is a first. Because this is a lot of foliage. I should have gotten the right amount of paint, but regardless, let's go here. Start tapping it in. Just, if you're not getting enough, You could push a little harder. There you go. Beautiful. Now we could switch back to the green. And in this regard, it becomes a lot easier. It becomes kind of what you want it to be instead of like following a pattern. A little more liquid white because this is new, or sorry, paint thinner because this is new paint. So, just test it. And then we can do like a big, tall guy right here. He's, ginormous. He's very much in the foreground here. Just sort of let your paint run out because you don't want it to be too much decoration or too much in there. Let's see. All right, so that looks good. Uh, let's start a new guy. Start a new bush. If you wanted to make it light, like if your green is too dark, just add a touch of liquid white and it sort of light and brightens it up. If you put too much green in, let's see. Let's do one right by the cabin here. This, and again, this is just a repeating factor. Here. Now, all right, let's do something fun. Let's get go back into this dark color. We should have just a little bit. We only need just a little bit. Okay. Here, just get the fan brush, go back into the dark color, and we want to cut out a path, right? This is a path that'll sort of eat through the foliage, and it sort of cleans it up just a little bit. Here, get our, if you need a little extra dark, just squeeze out some black or brown, whatever you have here. Good. And that sort of clears a path for us. Okay, and then we take our knife and we go back into our white with the dark. Just make sort of a highlight color. This would be like, you can use whatever you want. It's a little thin, so to start, I'll use the small side of the brush and then go slightly into the square that we made for the door. That way it looks like the ground goes into the doorway because it's an open barn thing here, and then just lightly come across the path right here, whatever, just barely give some highlights, barely, because this is deep in the woods, and who knows, Goldilocks is in there, whatever. And then we'll cover up the edges with some shrubs and whatever you feel like. Okay, here we are. So I'm back to my green. I mean, listen, pepper in the red wherever you want it, wherever you feel it's necessary. Here, this comes up to our, do individual bushes, like Bob said here. Boom. And then this side is done, barring any little details, whatever. Here we have our it's getting a little dirty. We have our red brush again. You know what I like to do? Just especially when it's like a pinkish or a reddish thing, add a good amount of the liquid white, and that way it just makes it look a little bit more pinkish, and it looks, white. Actually, you can load up your pink, and then dip ever so slightly, just a little few of the bristles of the liquid white, and then go in, and then that way it looks like pinkish whitish thing. Anyway, all right, that's enough for me. I'm running out of the pink. But I mean, feel free to squeeze out more of the pink or whatever. Which sounds odd, but anyway. So here we go. We're almost done. We're almost home free. So I'm just gonna add a few more in here. Layer it here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's done. Here, just take a little bit. Maybe I'll add just a little bit up here. Yeah. I mean, I think we accidentally finished very easily. I mean, I like this. It's decent. Okay, great. We don't have much dark paint left, so we're not even going to bother with that. Uh, oh, you know what I'm going to do? Here, let's do something I always forget to do, which is sign our name. Just put a little white, little liquid white on your thingy, on your palette. A little liquid white, and just go in there and oh, you know, here, get your liquid white, little paint thinner, and you can do like a little pretty little white limb. Just get a little crazy, a little mixed up. Because there are white sticks in nature, believe it or not. I've seen them. There we go. And then we do the most important thing, or whatever. I don't think it's the most important thing, but people like to do it. Sign your name. And that was it. Hopefully, you learned something by watching and listening. And if you have, I certainly appreciate it. And if you have, please leave a like below or subscribe. If you have any questions or comments or whatever, leave them down below in the comment section. As per usual, I am going to leave you with the painting just so you can get a final look at it while I clean up these brushes. Okay? Thanks. So. I should probably be adding some background music to this, but I can only think of one, which is the Bob Ross theme song, or whatever, or however it goes. Uh, but I don't. I guess I don't have that. Well, I don't have. I don't even know if you could use it. I don't know if it's public property or whatever, or if the what's the name? Those Kowalski people, like the woman and the husband who like stole everything from Bob. You know, I wonder if they're still alive. Maybe they are. Maybe they're like old as hell. You know, which I watched that documentary like probably a lot of people on Netflix, or whatever. You know, it really makes you feel bad for Bob Ross. You know, he kind of had this great passion, and you know, a lot of he wanted to do a lot of great things with the art, and which is great, and that's why he's famous. But they kind of shafted him a little bit, at least according to that documentary. Um, I don't know. You know, they certainly didn't paint them in a good light. You know, and then I know they had his son, Steve, on there. You know, maybe Bob was, he truly was just doing it for the love of it, and he don't really care what. You know, it sounded like he had like a personal relationship with the Kowalskis, particularly the lady. I forget her first name, and so maybe he felt safe leaving it to her, regardless of how she's portrayed. And you know, you say, well, it should go to the son. Yeah, maybe, but maybe back then in 1995, the son didn't want it or wasn't mature enough or whatever. You know, I obviously don't know. I only know what I've been told through the documentary. So it could be his fault, could be not. I don't know. You know, but at least we have what we have. You know, from the Bob. You know, teaching us all these techniques and stuff. Anyway, all right, guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.